Welcome to another episode, and it is with one of my dear soul sisters named Kendall. She is such a beautiful soul, and I really, really love this episode for so many different reasons. The theme is unguarding your heart. I remember filming this episode with her a few months ago, and I had just moved to a new city, and I actually spent a month away on a month-long road trip, and that was very eye-opening and provided me a lot of clarity. And I feel like I came back to Southern California with a more open heart. And so editing this video together and editing this interview and listening to it again just felt so resonant to so much of what I'm moving through in life right now, and I feel that it is going to be exactly the same for all of you. So without further ado, meet Kendall and enjoy this episode.
Dear one, how could you have forgotten that you are the goddess? Not a goddess, but the goddess. The divinity and energy around and within all of us is within you at your core. And how do you access it? You unlayer the bullshit programming we've been told and come back to your center, your sensation, your intuition, your love. You recognize spirit and goddess alive in all beings. You speak to the trees. You allow your bare feet to walk upon the earth and come back to your cyclical nature. See how your own internal cycle is synced with the moon, with the seasons. And most of all, remember you are the divine. And sometimes divine love looks rageful like Kali, sometimes it's playful like a child, sometimes it's deeply sensual, and sometimes still receiving deep messages from spirit.
All right. Hi, Kendall. Welcome.
You, thanks. Excited to be here.
I know. I love all of your adornments today. I know I said that to you earlier, but I love it.
I appreciate it. I've got my one earring
Yes,
going on.
I love it. And feathers are so like my universal sign right now. So I feel like it's even more synchronistic that you're wearing a feather.
Perfect. Yeah, this is like a macaw feather, so it's just like such a big,
Yeah.
amazing bird.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Well, I figured we could start with everyone who's watching this episode today with just a small little introduction. Just who are you? What do you like to do for fun? And anything else that feels alive to share.
Yeah. Well, my name is Kendall. I'm currently in the Bay Area, but this year I've been kind of moving around a lot and moving officially to Costa Rica this year as well. Yay! And for my work service in the world, I'm a feminine embodiment guide. I'm an earth witch. I work with highly sensitive women and help them to tune their sensitivities, channel that into deep intuition, unguard their heart, and to create a relationship with their womb. And my passions are like earth connection, magic, um, sensuality, the womb, the feminine, like art and herbs and plants, and yeah, all these fun things.
I love it. I love that you said Earth Witch and like unguard your heart. Those two pieces really stood out to me. Could you go a little deeper on what you mean by an Earth Witch and unguarding the
Yeah. So, I mean, this term witch is around a lot,
heart?
and even still, there's a lot of unconscious programming around this word. Like even still, we hear this word or people call themselves a witch, and we assume that they're like kind of dark, and it's like they wear all black, and maybe they're, work with evil spirits, or maybe they're like doing spells on other people or whatnot. So for me, the term earth witch, it really signifies this deep connection with earth, with her rhythms, with her cycles, in prayer and ritual, working with plants, living in reverence of the earth, paying attention to my own cycles. And we are the earth. We have all the elements in us. And how do those elements show up in our life? And then the witch part, it's witchcraft. It's the magical element. It's really this piece that's connected through a lot of different lineages, a lot of different practices. Like Wiccan, practice witchcraft. so many different forms of paganism, and it doesn't necessarily mean any one thing. It's just like your craft is your practice. It's how you bring ritual, how you bring prayer, how you bring intention.
Mm, I love that.
Mm.
Yes. And I feel like bringing ritual is something that we could do all the time. What's a way that, like, yeah, you bring ritual into your life, like with your work
Mm.
or just in general?
Yeah, it really is in everything that I do now. It's infused into everything. Even if it's just simple intention, simple prayer, simple wording. Like when I take showers, I have like a spell that I do in the shower that helps me to clear and cleanse energies that I might be carrying. My tea practice is like a ritual to me. Like behind me, I have this altar that's like, working on building a connection more with like the fairy realms, because I feel like I'm a fairy. So
You
like this,
100% are.
yes, I have like this altar here, and like sometimes I have an altar to Mary Magdalene, and it just depends on like what energies I'm feeling called to work. Even just like touching like a rose like this, like I'll, making everything magic, ritual, like poetic. It's like I see this rose and I bring it to my heart or I smell it. I'm like, may I unfold gently like this rose, just like little things like that, bringing simple magic. Simpler the better for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
More complicated, the more cerebral we get.
Yeah.
And the more cerebral we are, it's like we're already so cerebral in this modern life. It's like we bring more stress, we bring more tension, we bring more energy accumulation here. And the simpler we are, the more we can drop into the body, here, be present, feel.
Yeah. Ooh, I love
The
that.
unguard the heart too. It's like,
Yeah, like that brings me. I was like, yeah, let's talk about that piece, like what it means to unguard the heart. I love that. And I feel like it's such a theme in the world right now, is like opening of the heart, right?
yeah, yeah, and with unguard your heart, it's like not just opening to everything and everyone, and like,
Yeah.
still being conscious of your energy and energy exchanges. Actually, as I unguard my heart more, it's like I almost become more sensitive and I become more like discerning of what energies I let in. But the way I see it, it's like an actual true energetic softening.
Mm,
It's like this feeling of relaxation of those muscles. Um, a lot of us have like past relational traumas, whatever else, like programming, codependency, whether it's passed down from our mothers or grandmothers, taught in society. So we come with this like guard around our heart, and that causes us to like bring this like almost like projection into our relationships because we want to protect ourselves and we're not even aware that that's what's happening. We just see it as these other people, but really we're just afraid to soften. We're afraid to lean into our feminine. We're afraid to open. So if we can do that, we can do that in a way we're not afraid to meet ourselves in the depths of pain. We allow space for so much more love and magic in our life.
yeah. Oh, so beautiful. And I think, yeah, you nailed it there with like meeting ourselves in the depths of our pain, because I think that's where the guard always comes up, which I think like that's a very common experience that most people have, which really brings me to my next question of this concept of being human in our modern day world. And in your lens nowadays, what do you see it means to be human?
Yeah, living the full human experience, all the phases, all the cycles, all the depths, um, all of the pain and all of the love and all of the joy and all of the grief.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like we live, I mean, we know this, we live in duality. And the more that we can embrace the duality existing at the same time and letting that like transmute you forward, that's really like where the magic happens. And in your own experience of, your journey of life and stuff, where have you been able to like really meet your pain, but come out on the other side?
Mm. Yeah, the thing that comes up the most because of is it's actually because of how I worked with it that I'm like most proud of it is when I had an ectopic pregnancy,
Mhm.
um, that, yeah, ruptured my fallopian tube. And if I, had waited like 6 more hours, could have died. Had emergency surgery and had, was just bedridden for like 3 weeks and recovering for much longer than that. Um, and I really let myself go to the depths of that pain there. But it's like, could not get out of bed, could not do anything but like fully feel, rest, surrender, let people take care of me. And even as it was happening, I'm like, I could recognize like this is really hard, but it's also okay. Like
Yeah.
as hard and dark and depth, like the deep um, it felt okay at the same time. And I think it's because of, the tools that I have, because of how I let myself go to those depths and how I had gone there before. Um, and on the other side, I feel so much more in my power, so much more connection to my womb. And I feel really grateful for that because there's a lot of women who've had similar experiences who didn't have maybe the support or didn't have maybe the tools or to go there. And
Yeah.
it's still really with them. Not that mine's not really with me still.
Yeah.
It, it's like this dark cloud that like follows you otherwise.
100%. Yeah. And for anyone that's like watching this, and whether it's like a similar experience to yours or just the general pain that people can experience, like what piece of advice would you give someone who maybe doesn't know where to go next or what to do next?
Mm, yeah, there's a few things. Um, yeah, receive more than you think you need.
Oh, I like that.
And when you think you've gotten all you can receive, ask for more. Because that was like one of the biggest lessons of that. It was like I thought I was really good at receiving and surrendering and letting people support me, but it hit like new levels and edges of like, ooh, I feel like such a burden right now. And I had to really break through that. And then let's see, there's something else that's coming through. Yeah, you get to choose the meaning you create from this experience. So, yes, feel it all, but also be careful of the stories you're telling yourself about what happened and what it means about you or what it means about the person who was involved, what it means about the child that would have come through. Careful with those.
Yeah.
You're going to shape your reality.
That's powerful. Yeah. I love the piece on receiving as well. I feel like that will hit home for many people watching this because, I mean, especially, being a feminine embodiment guide and whatnot, and to both women and men, I think everyone carries a receivership wound. And I mean, I totally resonate with that. I'm just like, I think I'm even experiencing that now where I'm like, oh, this is like a new glass ceiling of what I've allowed myself to receive. I mean, I feel that all ties into like unguarding the heart also. But for you, like, what is that practice of, actually, let me dial it back because I feel like people maybe watching this maybe are just starting their journey. And how would you guide someone through really opening themselves to receive more?
Hmm. Okay, let's see. So, before even trying to like force yourself to go to people and like ask for things or, break through that, I would go sit on the earth, close your eyes, and breathe into the body and feel the earth underneath you, and then just feel the sun on your skin, feel like how the warmth fills you, feel the wind blowing through you, smell the smells around you, and just take that in more. Take in more of those senses, more of that sensory experience. And you think you've already felt and smelled and heard what's around you, open your field to take in more. and keep doing that. You'll hear more, you'll feel more, you'll smell more. I think when we are trying to start on this path of like learning to receive more, we give away our power and we assume that like, well, you need to give me more because I need to practice receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Really not this person's job to give you more. If they can't give you more and you're trying to practice receiving, it's not their problem. Like
Yeah.
go sit on the fucking earth and receive from her.
Ooh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I've never thought of that before. I'm like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna go do this today. It just came through, so I'm excited about that too.
Oh, yes, I love that. I literally, like, as you're saying that, I'm like, I need to just go sit on the beach and let the water come to me and just be there and receive from the sun. And yeah, like as you were, I like literally was envisioning myself learning to receive more in that moment. And it's like, it really truly is that simple. I think it is like a sensation in the body of allowing yourself to have more, because I think for me, at least, it shows up in kind of the chest and throat where I'm just like, oh, like you said, I don't want to be a burden. And that's always the story that's there of just like, oh, if it's like I'm taking, but no, it's not that at all. And that was a really beautiful, simple practice to begin.
Yeah. Yay. And I'm like so excited to go do that.
I love that. And in your journey of like really allowing yourself to receive, and it sounds like you moved through such like even more deepening pieces of that. Like, where do you feel either that piece or the work that you've been discovering has really ushered you into where you are today?
Hmm. Can you phrase that last part again?
Yeah, more like guided you to arrive to like being who you are today and like doing what you're doing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all of these pieces have guided me there for sure. I'm remembering a time like years ago when was like freshly out of college and like got this office job that was seemingly good and just feeling so disconnected all the time, even though I was living in San Francisco at a, decent place. I had good friends. I, you know, was actually making money for once and having a good time, but I just felt empty, felt disconnected. I felt empty. And um and it drove me on this path of, trying to find something that I wanted to do with my life, find a passion. And at that time, the one thing that I knew that gave me joy was when I would spend time at the apothecary, and learn from him. It was where I used to apprentice, and I would learn how to make, herbal things. And I was like, okay, maybe I could do something with that. So I just kept following these little threads and found a coach to work with, and she guided me through like NLP, and then I followed that thread, and then followed the Reiki thread, and then, found friends on Instagram to go fly to Utah with and spend a weekend with, and it just like awakened this like witchy sisterhood thing for me, and that took me down that path. And it's just continued, it's like ritual and the earth and magic and eventually it became the sensuality piece. I've just infused everything into my life. And what I do for work today is still continuing to unfold. Like I still am doing constant like trainings and working with mentors and all of that. But all these little pieces I've picked up along the way have been channeled into like the work I do, the service I do. Um, and they just infuse into who I am now.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, and I love how you said like you had all the external things, but internally you still felt that emptiness. And I feel like, I mean, the whole premise of this show is to guide other humans to really tap into that intuition and figure out what it is they want to do with their life. And seemingly so, we live in a society that ties purpose and career to be one and the same, although I personally don't believe that. So I'm curious to know for the humans out there watching who are just like, I don't know what my purpose is, or like, I feel empty with my career, and all of those emotions that come through when you're being guided elsewhere. Like, how do you define like purpose and success, and what piece of advice would you give to someone who is, feeling the nudge to maybe do something else?
Yeah, there's so many different pieces here because I don't think that purpose and career are the same,
Yeah.
but I do think that if you are doing something that you hate every day, it's going to take its toll. But I don't think that another job is going to fill that hole. So it's like this double edge. There's like so many different sides to it. It's like, I would say take a risk, but invest in something, a trainer, or whatever, anything that you find joyful, start to create a different path, but then also focus on like what are you really wanting to feel, because you're chasing these other things because you're wanting to feel something different.
Yeah.
And you're not going to feel those different things just by getting that external. So also focus on the feeling aspect. What are you feeling right now? What do you want to feel? Like, have you really let yourself go to the depths of what you're feeling right now? Or are you just cycling in the mind's stories? Because that's not feeling. You're like, oh, I hate this job. I hate this job. Like, I'm not bypassing. I'm looking at my shadows. I hate this job. Like, I feel hate. And it's like, no, you're in your mind's stories. Like, get into the fucking body, feel your shit.
Yeah. Oh God.
And
Scary
then
to say.
also like then also, try something different too. Shake things up. Don't just do the same job that you hate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the purpose piece. Um, I think we have many purposes. I think the purpose is ever unfolding. I, I like to think that we have like an overarching mission. Like my mission that I have been told, not by people,
Yeah.
just to clarify, is to help people remember. It's very vague. It shows up in a lot of ways. I
Hmm.
could be working a full-time office job and still help remember. I could be doing what I'm doing right now and help people remember. I could be working at a coffee shop in Costa Rica and help people remember. Like, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
your purpose is a state of being, it's a state of feeling. Especially for in terms of like polarity, if people watching this are familiar with like masculine feminine polarity, for more feminine embodied people, the focus on like the purpose is like a little bit more masculine. I
Yeah.
like to think that our purpose, if you're more feminine, if you identify as more feminine embodied, is to be love. It's to be the state of love. It's to be radiance.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I.
that shows, and then that channels into like your work. And then you're
Yeah.
like, I'm love, I'm radiance. Oh, I feel excited to do this work.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's fun. I've never heard purpose defined as like a state of beingness, but that really resonates with me too, because I definitely feel like I agree. Like I've always, anytime it comes through, I'm like, my purpose is to like bridge relationships. And that comes in so many different ways. But my actual like career is being like a hormone and life coach. But that can also bridge relationships. So I've never even thought of it as a state of being, and that makes sense. That's just like makes so much sense. I'm so excited for people to hear that.
I'm glad. That's awesome. I love hearing that too, that you have that overarching mission that channels into the work that you're doing right now, but then also channels into like this talk show and
Everything. Yeah. And I mean, like, this is a relationship bridge. Like,
totally.
it's so beautiful. But oh, I love. And something had came. Oh yeah, like my body lit up. So I know that we need to talk about this piece when you were speaking before on sensuality. I feel like we're moving into a much different paradigm of the world, and it's slowly integrating. And I feel like owning one's sensuality is going to be a really big thing, especially for, I believe, anyone with a female body.
Hmm.
And for you and your journey with that, because I don't feel it's talked about enough. What comes through when you like think like what needs to be shared on that piece?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this piece came up after I started this journey of like really looking at my shit, looking at my patterns, looking at how I was, hurting my partner at the time, um, and really diving into the more subconscious and energetic realms. And it was after kind of uncovering these layers that I realized that there was like a deep part of me I had not met in terms of sensuality. I didn't feel comfortable fully expressing like sexually, sensually. I would often just not feel interested in it.
Yeah.
And it would just be quick and like, let's get this done. Or like, okay, we're good, we're done. Okay, like let's, yeah. Or, it was just something that would happen at times, but it wasn't really infused into my life. Think that we need this perspective shift that everything is sensual, and there's also a difference between sensuality and sexuality. Everything in our reality is a sensual experience if we just slow down and get into our body enough to feel it. And the more that we allow ourselves to sink into sensuality, the easier it'll be to sink into our sexuality.
Mm.
um, I think we put a lot of pressure, though, to perform, to show up in a certain way, to express in a certain way, to please our partner. And I would say just take a lot of that pressure off and just start to feel what it feels like to live life sensually with no expectation, no end goal, no like, I need to figure out how to orgasm, or I need to figure out how to please my partner better, or I need to like sex. What does it feel like if you like ignore all that shit and you're just like, what if I just experience everything today as like a transmission of like experience life as a transmission of sensuality? Like, what if I just walk around and I'm like, okay, like, what does this tea smell like? Like, when I drink this tea, where does the chi go? Like, okay, I feel it moving down. I feel my energy field expanding. Like, when I'm outside, what does the sun feel like on my skin? What do I smell? What happens when I touch myself this way? What does my energy do? And just get really like curious, be like an expert at getting curious about your experience.
Yeah, just bringing it back to the body and the senses. I think that's so powerful. And I think a common thread that we've been conversing on is just, this constant cerebral experience, like you said. And I mean, everyone is, oh, like, I feel like we live in the mind in this society, and bringing it back to the body is just so like, oh, but people are like, but I live in my body. It's like, yeah, but do you feel it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know what it meant to actually feel my body for most of my life. It's
Me
like,
neither.
oh, of course I feel my body. Like, here we
Yeah.
are.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't until I think like I really started to like feel my emotions fully did it start to move me into my body, and then it became about the touch and everything else. So I think that's it's really powerful, and again, simplicity is key.
Totally. Yes.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I wanted to really bring it now to a slighter broader lens of being human, but for you, and I think there's so much change going on in the world right now, and I truly believe that like our souls are here to help guide into the new world, the new earth. And for you in this moment, what is like one big change that you are helping with and also want to really see before your physical body leaves this
Hmm. It's a really good question.
world?
Uh, yeah. I want to help people with and see more people having a deep connection with the earth, with the goddess, reverence for the earth, like living in prayer ritual with the earth. Not, we awaken to spirituality, but only to try to escape.
Yeah.
And we're here for, maybe for a reason, maybe not, but we're
Yeah.
here. So,
Yeah.
and the earth, especially like I've been kind of studying more Celtic magic lately. Like the earth holds so much for us. There's a lot of earth spirits, a lot of like fairy spirits, a lot of stuff that's just right around us and we just aren't paying attention to. We don't even need to escape to experience magic. Magic's all right here.
Yeah. Mm. What's your favorite way to connect with Earth? At least
Mm.
right now.
What was that?
Is it at least right now?
At least right now, yeah. Um, yeah, right now while I'm in the bay, my favorite way is to just go find like a little kind of hidden meadow and just like lay there and just watch the grass wave in the wind, like smell the pine trees. Yeah, just bring like my magic tools and I just kind of like set up a space and I bring like my journal, my book, I bring like hot bait medicine, I bring things to burn. Like the other day I brought my blood to give to the earth. Um, set up like a ceremonial container for myself. Yeah, that's been my favorite
Oh, so beautiful. Yes. I love doing my menstrual blood rituals out in nature also. There was a tree I was always offering it to, and I swear that tree's roots just kept growing bigger and bigger. I was like, ah, it's like the
Ah,
biggest, coolest thing to witness.
oh yeah. I mean, this stuff is real. Like, I had a very visceral experience at that like last year. Oh, excuse me. With housemates, I was living with three of us. We were working in our garden. We had seeds to plant, and we cast a circle around the garden. And we were working with these druid words to like cast a spell on these seeds. And as that we were doing it, each of us like were saying a different druid word, and I was envisioning the roots just very like quickly going and like the seeds sprouting up. And 3 days later, these are just seeds, like dry seeds from a package. Like these take a while to really
Yeah.
sprout. 3 days later, they were this tall.
Wow. That is so wild. I like
I
literally
was like, I know
goosebumps.
this stuff is real, but like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I feel like anytime you experience it, like I think every time I still experience something that's like unseen to be tangible, I'm just like, holy crap. Like I
Right.
believe in it so much, but it's still such like a wild experience to have, and it's so cool. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so I want to ask some more like rapid fire, get to know you type of questions and what you're into right now, so the audience can just get to know Kendall a little deeper. But I know we already talked about rituals, but what is one favorite ritual of yours that you either cultivate daily or you always come back to?
Mm, yeah, lately, daily, it's been like welcoming the sun, welcoming, Father Sun, like with prayer and gratitude. Yeah, here it's like a little bit weirder because I can't just like step out onto like a backyard and do that, but I'm still doing it, at least through the window, nothing else. So just like when I was in Costa Rica, it's just like step outside and just like, like thank you for bringing this new day, for warming my soul, my spirit, reminding me how to light my inner fire, bringing life to this earth. Yeah.
I love. And I do believe that everyone watching really likes to learn. So, what's a current favorite learning rabbit hole of yours?
Currently, it's Celtic magic. I just got like a bunch of books on, yeah, more Celtic stuff. So just learning more about my own magical heritage.
Oh, so beautiful. That's exciting. Excited to see what you do and what products come out infused with it. And
Yeah.
what is either one or a few current favorite mentors?
Mm, yeah. I mean, I have a few at least right now. One that I'm very excited for is Shona Keeley. She works with the Rose lineage. She initiates people into the Rose lineage. I'm going in person to Kauai, yeah, to work with her and learn hands-on like womb yoni massage.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, and she lives on Kauai Island. I love that. Yeah, I've been considering moving to Maui because then I could go to Kauai however often I want because it's such a beautiful little island.
Amazing. So potent there.
And the rose frequency is just, I just love it. Rose infused anything. I love wearing it. I love putting flowers, and yeah, I have rose everywhere, and that's exciting. I
Too,
can't.
and I've got my white roses right here, and
Yeah.
I'm now infused with rose. My tattoo. I got a stick and poke tattoo, and we burned rose petals and put the ash in the ink, so I'm like infused with rose
Oh
now.
my gosh, how beautiful.
It's
I love that. And that's like such a high frequency too. Ooh, I can't wait to see what transpires for you from this. I'm excited.
me too.
And then what is either a current favorite mantra or one that you always feel you come back to?
Mm. Yeah, the one that I've been working with lately is radiant love flows through me.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. That just feels yummy.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Awesome. Well, one last and final question. If there is one piece of advice that you can leave us with today, what would that be and why?
Believe in magic.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Simple, but to the point here. Oh my gosh, I
It's
love
more fun.
it. It's more fun. Exactly. 1,000% is more fun.
It's so funny.
I'd rather believe in that than anything else in the world at this point.
Totally.
Amazing. And where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at I am Kendall Nichole, although Nicole is spelled Nichole. Uh, I am on Facebook too, although I post more on Instagram, or I tend to post more on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. And how can people work with you or connect with you if they're feeling called?
Ah, I so this April, so in like 2 weeks, I have my goddess activation program is starting. There's actually only one more spot in it, but there is another round starting in August that I am opening pre-enrollment for already. And there it sounds like is a retreat in Costa Rica coming, so stay connected if you want to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely do because we'll both freaking be there. So
Yeah, woo!
yes, oh my gosh,
I love it.
I
Yay!
know. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful energy and wisdom with us today and taking your time to be here. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, definitely connect with Kendall and let us know what you thought of this episode. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.